Hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And girl, wow, I'm working overtime today. And I'm not even kidding. I started my regular job I know this is not the normal intro, but we're going to get into it real quick. I started my normal 9 to 5 at 6:50 this morning, and it is now 1 o'clock in the morning the following day. I have been trying to get all these reviews in when it comes to the Housewives because I just know I'm not going to have a lot of time this week. I go on vacation next week. So I knew that this week was going to be essentially, I'm deeming it hell week. I'm using air quotes. I know you can't see that, but yeah, because I just knew this was going to be a busy week and I'll have to rest. I don't know when I'm going to rest. I'm trying to figure that out, but we'll figure it out. It's fine. But anyway, we're back for another episode of The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. This is season 1. This is episode 2, and it's called Ocean State of Affairs. And I love the play on, Rhode Island being the ocean state, and you add state of affairs. And it actually fits this episode. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we start off with we're at Liz's house with Liz and Jerry, and we meet his parents, and we find out that they've been married for 11 years, and she has 3 stepdaughters, and also she wanted to have children. It just never panned out that way, but she basically she ended up marrying him and basically became a stepmom right away because the biological mom apparently at one point in time had some issues. And so they had custody. And so basically she became a mom essentially for the children like at a very young age and like all 3. So she went from none to 3 kids like expeditiously. And we find out that one of the children, she's 20. I think she's in her 20s. I know her boyfriend is 25, so I think she's probably 23 or something like that. I don't remember what it said, but her name's Brianna. She is pregnant. And yeah, so and it kind of came out of nowhere. And so this particular gathering is they're actually Zach's they're going to meet Zach's parents. And so we find out though that family is everything to her, so she's happy about that. And also she doesn't really have her family really anymore because both her parents passed away. Her mom passed away at a young age and her dad passed away shortly, I think, before they got married or something like that. Like it was like she hasn't had both her parents in her life for some time, so this means everything to her. And we also find out that this is going to be her first grandchild essentially. And yeah, so I'm bringing this up because, and I actually understand why they even had this in the beginning. Because for one, we're getting to know her, but also two, this is going to come back around in this episode like immediately. So that is a little bit more about Liz. Anyway, moving on. So then next scene we have Joellen. She is meeting Ashley and they're doing a play date. We find out during the 4th of July event that they said that they should probably get together and do a play date because they both have younger children. They both have a 1 and 3-year-old. So that is what they're doing. They're at the playground. The playground looked dangerous, especially for the 1-year-old. So that was kind of interesting. I was watching it and I was like, yikes, but neither here nor there. They're recapping the party. And Ashley, we find out from her that she actually does like Joellen. And she's like, I'm glad I did not, basically assume things about her. I'm glad I'm getting to know her. And so that's kind of what we're getting right now. And so then from there, we then hear Ashley then vents about how things are with her and Jared. Like she's happy with him, but she could tell that Jared himself, he is not happy. He's struggling with balancing balancing the coffee shop, and she wants to be there for him, but she feels like she's not doing enough. He seems like he's kind of depressed. And I I don't see it, but maybe there's more to it. But what I do think I'm seeing, and I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but I do think that Ashley might be suffering a little bit from postpartum, because her emotions are very all over the place. And not in a way where I'm saying she's unstable or anything like that. It's not giving that. It's really giving, I think she is suffering a little bit from postpartum depression. And also, too, she definitely feels overwhelmed because she has two very young children. She has a 1 and 3 year old. And I do like that in this scene, we see that Jo Ellen is very empathetic of her because she understands it. She's like, I've had those struggles too. Having young children, it could be a lot, and it's a tough job, and especially in Ashley's case with Jarrett never be having. I mean, he is home more now, but him not being home as much as she probably would like, it's a lot, even with the nanny. And I can tell even when they were trying to, do the play date, she seems like she's a little in over her head. um and I think it has a lot to do with her possibly suffering a little bit from postpartum. And again, I'm not saying it to shame her. I just feel like that is what I'm seeing. Because I mean, it just is reality. Like when it comes to us women, we just hormones is a thing. you know, I take certain things for my hormones because I'm, perimenopause right now, or I mean, I'm not officially diagnosed that, but child, I could tell things are different. So I get it. I totally get it. I understand it. But anyway, that's kind of what we got here. It was nice to see that Ashley and Joellen are getting along, because so far, as I mentioned before, I do like Joellen. So anyway, moving on. Next, we then see that Kelsey, they are at a restaurant and they're waiting for one more person. And this is where we meet Rula. Now, Rula was not on the first episode, but she is in this episode. We find out that Liz and Rula have a lot in common, and they're both half Syrian. And yeah, so then Rula does show up, and we find out that, and oh, Kelsey doesn't really know Rula. Basically, Liz is pretty much everyone's connect. I feel like in this group, like she literally is the matriarch of this group. Like everyone kind of, that's clear to me when it comes to this show, and I really do like that. So that's cool. But anyway, she gets right to it and asks about the fourth, and we find out immediately that Rula and Joellen do not like each other. And it seems like with Rula, her anger is extremely misplaced because we find out that Joellen was the one who discovered that Rula's husband was cheating on her. And in the worst way possible. The mistress posts a picture of her and her husband kissing on social media. Joellen found it, and once she discovered it, she sent it to her. And according to Rula, let her tell it, she's saying that Joellen showed the whole entire group. And that's but then according to Joellen, that's not how that happened. I'll be honest with you, I am believing Joellen more over Rula, just because from everything else that Rula is saying, she seems very delusional when it comes to the circumstances of what's going on. Um, Instead of just being truthful, and in the words of Alexander Rogers, just letting that man cheat in peace, and just say that to the ladies, like, I'm just letting him cheat in peace. She is delusional and thinking it was a one and done situation and it's not happening anymore. And it's like, other than him getting caught, that to me doesn't seem like that would be enough for him to like just be done with it. I don't know. And according to the ladies, there's still just rumors in the streets that it's still going on. And anyway, so as the other ladies are just trying to say, hey, if there is something going on, you don't have to put up with it. We're here for you either way. And that's what Liz was trying to tell her. Rula gets super defensive and tries to flip it on her and say, well, I know you had your stuff going on back in the day. And we find out more about that. And it really wasn't, we find out later on the episode that it wasn't what Rula was saying. So that's the other reason why I'm not quite believing Rula and her version of the story. And then she also said, well, maybe, and basically Liz is like, I get it. You have kids, so that's the reason why you want to hold things together. And Rula's like, yeah, when you have the kids yourself, it's a little different, which definitely came off as a dig. She keeps trying to say to Liz that wasn't a dig, but Liz being the bigger person, she's like, okay. But she does rub in her face one more time, like, yeah, having kids is different. And she knows what was messed up about that. And again, I feel like Liz is a better person than me. I would have taken that a whole entire certain way. But Liz did check her. It wasn't like she just let it go. She did check her, but Rula backed down real quick, realizing, oh, I messed up when I said that. But still, that really wasn't cool. I would have been very upset by that. And Kelsey, throughout this whole entire time, she's just kind of listening. And she's like, I identify with Rula because I get it. Like, I'm in this situation right now that there's a lot of rumors, and it just is what it is. And so, but we find out later on, Kelsey wants to address some of the things that have been said across the board. And we'll find that out in the next scene. In the next scene, we see that Kelsey, she hosts Elisa, and Alicia, she basically, once she comes to the house, she basically immediately apologizes to Kelsey about, being nosy. And she's like, yeah, it wasn't really my place to do all that, but, I didn't mean any harm. And um, Kelsey's like, it's all good. I'm glad you apologized. That's kind of all I needed. And so they pretty much bury the hatchet right away. And then we also find out that um, um, from Kelsey about how much a lot of the women, especially Lisa is very Rhode Island, like extremely Rhode Island. And we hear about Lisa in her confessional. She can't drive. Girl can't drive. She basically confessed to like running over a lady. I'm like, wait, what? She is so Deanie. I do like Elisa, but she definitely does. She's messy, but she don't try to be. It seems like she's kind of just a little ditzy though. But yeah, anyway. But like I said, she apologizes, and then we also find out that Rula's not a big fan of Joellen because she kind of go ahead and recaps that. And then we also find out, we don't find out in the scene, but we find out later on in the cut scene that later on, Kelsey has an idea of wanting to host the ladies at a winery. And the idea is they'll meet at Elisa's place. That way she doesn't have to drive. And then they'll take like a Sprinter van to the winery. So that is pretty much the event that we have later on today. And then fast forward, that does end up happening. But before we get into that, we actually do then go to Rula's house and we learn more about her and what she has going on. So Rula, she is very bougie. We find out that she is Lebanese, half Syrian, and she is a financial planner. She basically owns a financial planner firm. She also is she has a boat and she's a captain of a boat, so she's a boss. Like she basically is presenting herself as a boss. And also, I will say this earlier on when Liz and her were going back and forth, she definitely has the ego on her, and I think that is what's getting in the way of her really being getting out of the delusion that her husband is potentially still being unfaithful, because I don't know, I just wouldn't trust it of it being a one-time thing for how comfortable they were. It's not giving that, but neither here nor there. That's not my business. It's only our business because it's on the show. But anyway, um and then we also find out that let's see what we have here. Sorry. She has a boy and a girl, an 8-year-old, and I believe the girl's a 5-year-old, or 6 or something like that, but she's younger. We also find out that she's been with Brian for 12 years and married for 9. So there's history there. And so that's also the other reason why probably she's not willing to um come to terms with what happened. But then the producers did ask her a question, did you forgive him? And she's like, yeah, not she has not completely forgiven him yet. And that's kind of all that we got when it comes to her. And then from moving from there, as I mentioned before, fast forward, the ladies do meet up at Elisa's house to go to the winery. And they go to this winery called Newport Winery. And side note, I wanted to say this before, both this first and second episode makes me actually want to visit Rhode Island. I'm not going to hold you because um, I love New England. I love visiting. I don't want to ever live in New England, but I do enjoy visiting. So that is intriguing to me. So I will just say that. Anyway, moving on. So we also find out once everyone's there that Rule is actually supposed to be meeting them up there. And so immediately, basically before all this happens, Kelsey does pull Joellen to the side. She's like, hey, just let you know, she's supposed to be coming. And we find out, according to Joellen, Rula really crossed the line big time. And not only, she pretty much blamed Joellen completely for what the mistress did, or for exposing what happened. Not only did she do that, she apparently caused problems at her job, filed a complaint. It was like a whole entire thing. And so Joe Ellen don't really mess with her either. Like, she's like, you're messing with my livelihood now. I did not do all that to be malicious. I literally was just letting you know what's going on because I figured you wanted to know. And she only showed her the picture after Rula asked to see it, to see the proof. And so, yeah, the vibe, that's interesting. So anyway, but basically, Joellen's all worked up thinking she's going to be there. Fast forward, Rula FaceTime calls and basically makes an excuse why she can't attend. She's like, I'm sick. And so basically, fake sick. And so she didn't show up. And so as this is happening, Joellen, there's a box that has her name on it. She just throws a box. I was like, oh my gosh, she really don't mess with that lady. Anyway, so then next they played this game. Of course, it's a shady game where it's called they're basically coming clean. And this is Kelsey's idea where she's like, hey, let's just all write things about each other. As far as like anything you have questions about anyone, we'll address it. We'll put it on the floor. And so the first thing was, I forgot who asked what. It didn't really matter because it was supposed to be anonymous, but sometimes they owned up to it, sometimes they didn't, but it doesn't really matter. But we find out that Ashley basically lost her virginity at 29, which strong. I couldn't be me, but that's strong. Um, and then Kelsey admits that she lost hers when she was 14. Also couldn't be me. That's gross. Um, no shade, but like, oh yikes. Because the way she said it, the reason why I say that is the way she said it in her confessional. She kind of said it like it was something to be proud of, and I was like, girl, that's not a flex, but okay. Anyway, no judgment, but judging a little bit. Anyway, so then Kelsey, then we finally get to Kelsey, the questions that Rose has for Kelsey. And Kelsey's like, look, no, we're not in polyamory, like we're not in he's not polygamous because they're not married. But yes, the relationship is somewhat open, but they're not calling it polyamory because it really isn't that. So right now she's like, yes, I have a boyfriend right now besides the other boyfriend because I want long-term goals that my current boyfriend doesn't want. And we'll just see where it goes from there. I'm doing me, but it's not giving that they're polyamory or they're in a polyamorous relationship. It's not really giving that. It's giving that they're just they're just doing them. I don't think they have really a true label on it. And really, she's 31. She's going to waste her whole entire youth with someone who doesn't even really want the long-term goals that she wants. No, honestly, I'm cheering her on. You do you, you know? And at the end of the day, it's really no one else's business. And it's just really weird that Rosie is still trying to judge it. It's weird. Like, something about Rosie I just don't like. Anyway, so then we get back to how this subject even came along. And both Liz misremembered it And Rosie keeps trying to say that Joellen brought it up. No, someone else asked. They didn't show who asked because it was someone else's voice. I don't know if it was Liz or if it was Lisa, but someone else asked about Kelsey. And then she pretty much was vague about what's going on. All she says, she's going through some stuff. And then even Ashley was like, yeah, no, she didn't mention anything about her relationship. She just says she's going through some stuff. And so right then and there, and then also they showed the footage back and I remembered everything correctly. I knew she didn't do that. I knew Rosie was trying to flip it and make it something that it wasn't. And so you could tell she was annoyed that like no one took the bait. But I was like, girl, it's weird. But anyway, so then from there we're thinking, okay, the mess is over with. No, it's not. Liz, so Elisa decided to ask Liz a question about, is it true that she cheated on her husband? And we find out she did not. Was the relationship inappropriate? Yes, slightly, but did she cheat on her husband? No. Basically, long story less long, Liz has a close male friend that she's really, really close to. It's basically her best friend. They've never crossed boundaries, but it's complicated and it could be seen, especially if you're with someone who's insecure, it being problematic. But it really isn't a problem of a situation. And the way she described it, I'll be honest with you, is pretty similar to my situation with one of my male best friends. No one, I feel like people on paper wouldn't believe that we're just best friends and that's it. And I always have to like really call it out, like, no, there's nothing there. It's been the whole thing for years. I think I've even talked about it on this channel before. But actually it came up during when I was dating the recent guy I was dating. He kind of said something weird to my friend about it. And it was just like, okay, so you are threatened by this. And for me, that is a thing of mine. If you're threatened by that friendship that I have with my guy friend, we're not dating anymore. Like, it's the whole thing where I literally will end any type of relationship immediately if I hear that there's threat with that. That's just me. Because I can't date no one who's insecure. I'm not with that. But anyway, but yeah, it just kind of reminded me of that. And so toward the episode ends though, where Liz just kind of feels a way that Lisa brought that out because she's like, you're putting something out there that wasn't out there, and you just put that out there into the universe. And also, too, you notice that Rula did the same thing earlier on in the episode. It was the same situation, basically. So Liz cleared it up at the end, but the damage essentially is being done by them bringing it up. So I get what's happening. And yeah, Liz feels a way about it because she's like, my two closest friends who've known me the longest decided to do that and know that it wasn't even true. So anyway, that is where the episode ends. And I am curious to see how long some of these close friendships, especially the ones who've known each other longer, that's usually, these reality shows usually kill those relationships. So I am curious to see how that goes. But anyway, that does conclude the review. Hopefully you enjoyed this. This second episode was really good too. So far, I'll be honest with you, I'm liking this more than I'm liking Beverly Hills already. Maybe because it's something fresh and something new. I don't know, but I already like it more. But anyway, but that does conclude this video. Please like, comments, podcast. At this point, let's call this a podcast. But this concludes this podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. I will see you next time. Bye.